Welcome back to Spot Homestead. Today I'm going to be discussing raising mealworms as a feed source, cheap feed source for chickens and ducks. So what you can see here is a beetle bin. These are mealworm beetles. I keep these paper towel tubes in here because it actually makes them easy to transfer. As you can see, there are literally just hundreds and hundreds of them in there. This thing weighs, probably a pound. So those help make it easier to move them. So what I do is I basically just leave the beetles in here with about a 2-inch thick layer of just your feed store wheat bran. I'm hoping to switch to organic soon. The hardest part of organics is finding what you're looking for, finding it affordably. So I'm in the process of working on that. So the beetles just stay in this bin. I keep them in a bin for about 2-3 weeks, and then I move them to another one. I take all the beetles out, and then I put the substrate into higher up drawers. These are just your average Sterilite storage drawers. I buy them right at Target. They were about $20 a piece. I covered them in duct tape because they prefer the dark. And I did drill holes for aeration, as you can see, though. On the other one, I decided not to drill holes and see how it went, and I didn't notice any difference in ventilation. So I don't know that it's necessary to drill the holes, but I'm sure anything helps, right? So anyway, I just put pieces of carrot in, and they eat those as their water source. They're basically no maintenance. There might be a little bit of an odor. I'd say more the wheat bran than anything else. The mealworms probably stink a little bit, but you can't smell anything when the drawers are closed. So the big drawers I use for the mealworms, or for the mealworm beetles. This is a brand new drawer. I'm in the process of moving beetles over. So they all lay eggs, and then I'll move all of the substrate to one drawer at a time and grow out huge batches of mealworms at a time. You can see here are more beetles. I mean, there are literally just like a couple inches deep with beetles. It's not hard to build up the amount of beetles you have. They live for, I think, 1 to 2 months. Mine seem to live for a while. The dead ones I compost. One of the ways that I figured out how to move the live beetles from drawer to drawer is I put an egg crate in, and then I will put a carrot in the egg crate, and all the beetles that are alive will move on here, and then I just move this over to the other drawer, tap them all out of there, and repeat until they're all out. So this drawer is almost ready to go. This substrate here, I don't know if you can see it moving just a little bit. There are little tiny microscopic mealworms in there amongst the dead beetles. So I will just combine all the different bins together into one, like I said, and just grow out the mealworms. The biggest problem I have with this setup is just transferring everything from one drawer to another. Is kind of time consuming, and I'm developing something right now that I'm hopefully will be like a self-sorting mealworm setup. We'll see how that goes. Here is a mealworm drawer. These guys are pretty full size. They're starting to pupate. You can see some pupa in here. The pupa are just these, like little alien things. They do move. They wiggle. They don't eat, obviously. So what I do is I pick these guys out of the mealworm drawer, and then I throw them into this top drawer here. And then these pupa, some die. I think with more aeration I might get a higher hatch rate. I don't know. I'm gonna work on that. But they do turn into beetles, and then I just move the beetles into one of the lower drawers. So these beetles don't bite. They probably aren't going to survive very long if they get out, which You know, we found 1 or 2 in the house that I probably just dropped while I was transferring them, and they escaped my line of vision. You know, you're not going to be infested in your house, I don't think, if you had a couple get out or anything. So yeah, this is basically my setup right now. Kind of labor intensive just because I have to go through each drawer. Like now this drawer here is filled with babies, and you can see them moving. That's not me doing that. Those are the mealworms kind of drifting around. Try to get as close as I can. They are microscopic, so you can't see them, but you can see the movement. And in my beetle drawers, I really just kind of pick up a handful of substrate and just check to see if I see little movement. And then if I do, I know it's time to transfer the beetles. It's usually between 2 and 3 weeks. So you just kind of keep moving from one to the other. And one of the tricks I learned for moving the beetles is just as easy as this. Take them, you know, shake them off, put it back in. You know, at certain points you get so many that you just can take whole handfuls at a time and move them. You know, with moving as little substrate as possible so you keep your mealworm baby counts high, but obviously it's not an exact science. I mean, it's not exactly a hugely difficult process or anything. So this is my current setup. Very simple, very easy. I bought 2,000 mealworms at Uncle Jim's wormfarm.com. They came fast. They were pretty cheap. They started pupating out pretty quickly. And I just, for my first several hatches, just kept transferring pupa, letting them become beetles, and not feeding any mealworms for several months here to really let my numbers stack up. I mean, if you know, want to spend the money, you can order 10, 20,000 mealworms if you want. Let those all pupate out, and then you've got large numbers from the beginning. But, you know, this is about cost efficiency for me. And at the time, my ducks and chicks were just babies, so I could easily take the time to do this. I highly recommend it. You know, I mean, this is, like I said, $10 for 50 pounds of wheat bran. I buy organic carrots at Wegmans. They're super cheap. And I just put them in as they need them. You do want to take the carrots out if they start to get moldy, just because you could kill your insects that way. But I have such high numbers that basically the carrots are eaten before they ever have a chance to mold. So it's as simple as that. A little too labor intensive, like I said, at this point, trying to keep up with moving the pupa, trying to keep up with moving the beetles. My numbers are so high now that it's becoming just kind of ridiculous to keep doing this by hand. So I'm in the process of working on a new system where all the sorting would just be sorting the pupae from the mealworm bin. The pupa turning into beetles will be self-sorting, hopefully, and the eggs will drop through a screen underneath into a mealworm bin to keep the beetles separate from the mealworms. That's the biggest thing with mealworms, is that they cannibalize. You know, the mealworms will eat the pupa, the beetles will eat the pupa, the beetles will eat the mealworms and the eggs if left in the same bin for too long. I know a lot of people keep them together. I keep them separate just because I'm really working hard on growing my numbers. So, you know, that's basically it. Not a lot of money. You know, small scale, this is great. I know that some people, what they do is they actually cut out the bottom of the upper drawer, and they leave a little bit of a lip, and then they hot glue in a screen, and they just put the egg cartons in there, and the egg cartons have the food in it, and then when the beetles walk on the screen, all the eggs drop to the lower level where they turn into mealworms. That's a really good idea. I wish I had done that from the beginning. I was just kind of doing it the lazy way, I guess. So that would be an additional step you could take. So then your lower bin obviously would just be mealworms, and then you could easily transfer that substrate into one of the shorter drawers as you go. But I mean, like this drawer here has thousands and thousands of mealworms. So, you know, if you're getting 150 to 200 eggs per beetle. I mean, look at how many beetles I have. You know, that means pretty quickly I'm going to be dealing with some really large numbers of mealworms, and I'm really going to be able to supplement my chickens and ducks this winter with, you know, fresh, moving food, insects that they love and want to eat that give them plenty of protein. So I highly recommend this for anybody that has chickens or ducks. This is a great source of food that doesn't take much work. I mean, I'm putting more work into it than you really even need to. You know, these are toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls. You can see there's just, you know, thousands of them kind of in there. I mean, I know some people don't like insects. It's like, ew, how can you touch them? You know, they're moving, but they don't bite. You know, they're harmless. They're not particularly gross. I mean, all they're eating is the wheat bran and the carrots. You know, so then what I do is, as the mealworms get bigger, they shed their skin here. So you get all of this kind of stuff that easily blows in the wind. It can really irritate your allergies. I am actually allergic to the mealworm frass. I wear a mask when I sort out the frass. But so what I do is I just, I take just a mesh kitchen strainer. I actually had this in my kitchen. It's now designated for the mealworms. I pour them all in there, shake it, all the frass comes out. The wheat bran's harder to get through this fine of a mesh. I'd like a actually a wider mesh to sort through the wheat bran, but I just haven't found one yet. So that's basically all there is to it. You know, you just scoop it up, and maybe I can show you here with a smaller one what the frass looks like. It literally is just a powder that shakes out, you know, and then once you're done shaking, you know, you're just left with this. You take a big scoop, give it to your animals. Yummy, that's what they say. So not a big deal. And then I'll show you what I've been doing here is I collect it. The biggest problem I have is that I have several generations of mealworms hatching out separately. So what happens is I'll sift them out, and then all the babies will end up in my frass bin. And this is just insect poop. And this is a great soil amendment that I will have available for sale in 2-pound bags. I'm not sure on a price yet, probably not too much. But it is a great soil amendment. It can really help your plants grow big and strong. You know, this is a nice organic supplement that's, you know, another way to use a waste product, you know, that people would think would otherwise be garbage, but it actually is a great thing. So you can see here what I do is I put a carrot in here, and then I attract all the mealworms. Then I'll just move all these guys over. And slowly I'll sift all the baby mealworms that are in here out back into the drawers. And then this will be available and ready for sale hopefully in the next month. I'm working on packaging right now. So it's as easy as that, folks. Good luck. Let me know if you have any additional questions. I hope I covered everything. And hopefully over the next few weeks I'll be building my new self-sorting mealworm bin, and I'll have an even lower maintenance way for you to grow nearly free food for your animals. Alright, thank you for watching.